So I don't know how far I'll get with this recording. I don't know. I'm to the woodland area, which more built up than I've seen, but I haven't been here, I don't think, maybe a week or more, which I seem to be saying a lot more these days. But I thought I'd record a clip after the clips I did yesterday about control and power and how it was being used against me. When I got back yesterday, back home, the person who had instigated it all set it all off, had created the atmosphere in the lead up and then set it all off and orchestrated, I believe, the blow up. Was sitting very, very quietly and very gently and very kindly and very nicely said, "I'd like to clear the air." And I thought, okay, this should be good. Should be interesting. Of course we can, yes. The air that wouldn't have needed cleaning if he hadn't started something and escalated it, which of course have been completely assigned to me. And it's all very interesting when that happens. And immediately I thought there's something, just in his body language, there's something else behind this. And there was. So, for the first time ever, he said, "Oh, I might not hear you." And I said, "Well, I think you will hear me if you want to, because that often happens." And his issue with hearing is very much used. And that's not just said, in this moment. That's built up over years. And I've watched the behaviours as I do and know what's happening. And it's amazing how he can hear me say something as I turn away my back to him. I've said really quietly, but he can't hear when I'm facing him. So I know that he uses it when he wants it. So he pulled a chair up to me rather than expecting me to go to him, which I thought, oh, this is new. This is going to be really good. And so we started, and he had no idea how it had all escalated. And I said this, and I just meant this, and then it all escalated. So I reminded him what had been said and how it had been controlled of who I can and can't speak to, and that I shouldn't be asking for more information of anybody about the car. That's what my brother had said. Oh, I didn't hear that. No. Conveniently didn't hear that. Again. Just so it can be blamed and all assigned to me. And he wanted to clear the air, which I think for him always means he gets to talk, I get to listen, and I do not get to speak or say anything that, puts my side across. And I did remind him at various stages of it, I've listened to you and you wanted to clear the air, so that means I get to talk as well. And whether he listened or not, he did this whole thing with his ear and, oh, could he hear all right? So I knew I was kind of wasting my breath. And then right at the end, he said, and the thing is, I've got a problem. And I thought, okay, now I understand why we had this clearing of the air. Because if somebody else had been there to help him, I imagine, with this problem, he'd have carried on dirtying the air as he had done after the disagreement when I tried to just carry on as normal. He'd been the one that had been sarcastic and said, and I'd have to tell him I don't understand sarcasm. So sometimes a clearing of the air is not a clearing of the air. in the way that we all understand it, just like an apology is not always given as an apology. So it's just something to be aware of when people are narcissistic and controlling or manipulative, that their language is not necessarily what you would use. And it was cleared. He doesn't wish to fall out with family. Made that clear. He named, you can fall out with anybody outside the house, that's perfectly fine, but not with family. The problem is with that, and the hypocrisy of that, is when he's at the house, he's as nice as anything. And it's with me that he's aggressive. And I thought, well, that doesn't ring quite true, as you put your best side out there when you're with other people, and I get the brunt of it. So he had a problem. He'd had this issue in the bedroom and the curtains needed fixing. So polite, so helpful, talking about he's 80 and there's things he can't do and he gets frustrated, and so appealing to that side, to get empathy and playing the victim, which he does, which is perfectly fine. I understand it's hard at 80 to get used to what you can and can't do. And he doesn't help himself. So then he comes through as I'm making him a drink and he says, my problem is I get frustrated. And I said, the problem is that you get aggressive. You get aggressive with me. And I carried that on to explain, how that comes across as aggression and, what he can do. And it's some tips. So I can't hear you. I can't hear what you're saying. And I said, no, you can't. But you can when you want to. You can hear, if I was standing there offering him £1 million, he'd hear it. It's quite, no matter how quietly I spoke or which direction I was facing. So he can't. And he said, I'm sorry, I can't hear. And I said, it doesn't matter, it's okay. I don't need for you to hear it, what I've said. And he said, I can take criticism, And I thought, don't take the bait, because he can't, and he's proven time and again he can't. So he would say that, encourage me to speak and say things, and then it'd be recounted to my brother and sister-in-law as a completely different thing that I have said in a completely different way. So I'm changing my dance steps. I've started probably the last few months to change my dance steps, and I won't get caught out by this stuff. And a lot of the time I do just grey rocket or yellow rocket. And the other day, as I say, I stuck up for myself and said, no, actually I can talk to whoever I want to talk to. And I repeated that yesterday. So he's been as nice as pie. Obviously, he's very aware that he needs to be on his best behaviour still. And he can do it. And yesterday proved to me that he knows how to calmly approach someone. He also knows when he's not being nice. He showed it quite clearly yesterday. So there we go. That's just a catch up. So it'll be interesting to see how long this niceness lasts. I stayed out of the room. I hadn't been well over the weekend, so I said, I'm still not fully fit. So I'll be staying in my room, just relaxing. But yeah, people who manipulate keep on manipulating even when they're trying to present themselves as nice and, I want to clear the air, or it's important to me that we don't fall out. Yeah, just be aware of that if you're dealing with somebody manipulative.